Welcome back, my friends. The news today is that Microsoft AI needs so much power it's tapping site of U.S. nuclear meltdown. The owner of the shuttered 3 Mile Island nuclear plant in Pennsylvania will invest $1.6 billion to revive it, agreeing to sell all the output to Microsoft Corporation as the tech titan seeks carbon-free electricity for data centers to power the artificial intelligence boom. But, before we get into all of that, I would like to thank everyone who views my videos. If you would like to support the channel, please see the link to buy me a coffee in the video description below. And, please hit the like button and leave me a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. Constellation Energy Corporation, the biggest U.S. operator of reactors, expects 3 Mile Island to go back into service in 2028, according to a statement Friday. While one of the site's 2 units permanently closed almost a half-century ago after the worst U.S. nuclear accident, Constellation is planning to reopen the other reactor, which shut in 2019 because it couldn't compete economically. Shares of Constellation Energy jumped as much as 16% to a record high on Friday. Microsoft has agreed to purchase the energy for 2 decades and declined to disclose financial terms. This is the first time Microsoft has secured a dedicated, 100% nuclear facility for its use. The decision is the latest sign of surging interest in the nuclear industry as power demand for AI soars. More than a dozen reactors went dark over roughly the past decade in the face of increasing competition from cheaper natural gas and renewable energy. But growing demand for electricity, from factories, cars and especially from data centers, has spurred interest in nuclear plants that can provide carbon-free power around the clock. Policymakers and the market have received a huge wake-up call, Constellation Chief Executive Officer Joe Dominguez said in an interview. There's no version of the future of this country that doesn't rely on these nuclear assets. Constellation, which has seen its shares jump this year thanks to mounting investor awareness of the value of power plants, plans to fund the project from its own coffers rather than seek state or federal support. That's in contrast to Holtec International, which is pursuing the only other disclosed effort to restart a closed reactor, with about $1.8 billion in conditional funding from the U.S. Energy Department and the state of Michigan. NextEra Energy Incorporated has also said it's considering reviving a closed Iowa reactor, in part to supply data center customers. However, beyond these 3, experts say there are a few other mothballed reactors that may be suitable for restarting. While Constellation isn't averse to outside financial support, Dominguez said government approvals move slowly and he doesn't want to wait. Work at 3 Mile Island is expected to start immediately. The deal to supply Microsoft with electricity from the 837-megawatt reactor is Constellation's biggest ever power purchase deal. The restart effort has been in the works since early 2023, when Constellation began evaluating whether it made sense to switch the reactor back on. By early this year, the company had concluded that it wanted to pursue the project, and began talking to potential customers. Microsoft was immediately interested, Dominguez said. The nuclear power purchase will aid Microsoft's plans to run all of its massive global network of data centers on clean energy by 2025, Bobby Hollis, Microsoft's vice president for energy, said in an interview. This nuclear energy will be used to fuel data center expansion in areas like Chicago, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. While the additional nuclear power will help Microsoft's climate goals, it does not address the most intractable issue, emissions from concrete, steel and chips used in the data centers, Hollis said. This is not a simple piece, but it's easier than figuring out how to decarbonize the entire supply chain, he said. Still, data centers make a useful customer for nuclear power. Wind and solar power outputs can vary, while a nuclear plant generally runs constantly and requires a customer that can take all of that electricity, Hollis said. That makes tech companies selling cloud computing an ideal option. We run around the clock. They run around the clock, he said. Microsoft isn't the only tech company looking to nuclear power to fuel its AI ambitions. Earlier this year, Amazon.com Incorporated's cloud computing division agreed to spend $650 million to acquire a data center campus connected to Talen Energy Corporation's 40-year-old nuclear power plant on the Susquehanna River in Pennsylvania. While the 3 Mile Island reactor was mothballed in 2019, Dominguez said the equipment is still in good shape. Still, restarting it will require significant investments in the main transformer, turbine and cooling systems. The company will have to restaff the facility and must seek approval from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Constellation will also seek to extend its operating license through 2054, and is planning to rename the facility the Crane Clean Energy Center, after the late Chris Crane, former CEO of Exelon Corporation, which spun out its generation unit to become Constellation in 2022. One of the biggest hurdles will be connecting the plant to the power grid operated by PJM Interconnection LLC, which has a lengthy queue. If PJM can move fast enough, Dominguez said the facility could potentially be ready to supply power as early as 2027. "I'm so glad we're reversing a terrible mistake that shouldn't have happened," he said. "It will be a lot more difficult to achieve the energy transition if we only want to use wind and solar and storage." The 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant, located in south-central Pennsylvania, has a notable history, particularly due to the incident that occurred there in 1979. Here are some of the key events in 3 Mile Island's history. Construction of the plant began in 1968, and it was completed in 1978 with 2 reactors, Unit 1 and Unit 2. The plant was designed to generate electricity using nuclear fission. On March 28, 1979, a combination of mechanical failures and human errors led to a partial meltdown of the Unit 2 reactor. This incident released small amounts of radioactive gases into the atmosphere, causing significant public concern and fear. It remains the most serious accident in the history of the American commercial nuclear power generating industry. The accident led to widespread public fear about nuclear energy and halted the construction of new nuclear plants in the U.S. for many years. Despite the severity of the incident, studies found no significant health impacts on the surrounding population. Unit 2 was permanently shut down following the accident. Unit 1 continued to operate until it was shut down in 2019 for economic reasons. There are plans to bring the plant back online to meet the growing electricity demands, particularly for AI data centers. The 3 Mile Island incident significantly influenced nuclear policy and public perception of nuclear energy in the United States. Artificial intelligence, AI, systems, especially those used in data centers and for large-scale computations, require substantial amounts of electricity. Here are a few reasons why nuclear power is considered a good fit for meeting these energy demands. 1. High energy demand. 1. Data centers, AI applications, particularly those involving machine learning and deep learning, require significant computational power. 1. Data centers housing these applications consume vast amounts of electricity to run servers and cooling systems. 2. 24/7 operation. AI systems often need to operate continuously, necessitating a reliable and consistent power supply. 2. Reliability. 1. Base load power. Nuclear power plants provide a stable and continuous supply of electricity, known as base load power, which is essential for the uninterrupted operation of AI systems. 2. Low interruption risk. Unlike some renewable energy sources, nuclear power is not dependent on weather conditions, making it a more reliable option. 3. Environmental considerations. 1. Low carbon emissions. Nuclear power generates electricity with minimal greenhouse gas emissions compared to fossil fuels, aligning with the goals of reducing the carbon footprint of energy-intensive AI operations. 2. Sustainability. As the demand for AI grows, sustainable energy sources like nuclear power become increasingly important to mitigate the environmental impact. 4. Economic factors. 1. Cost efficiency. Over the long term, nuclear power can be more cost-effective than other energy sources due to its high energy output and relatively low operating costs once the plant is built. 5. Energy security. 1. Domestic energy production. Nuclear power can reduce dependence on imported fuels, enhancing energy security for countries investing heavily in AI technologies. In summary, the high energy demands, need for reliability, environmental benefits, economic factors, and energy security make nuclear power a compelling option for supporting the growth and operation of AI technologies. But, what do you think? Please hit the like button and leave us a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. Please share this video on social media. And, before we end, a word from the sponsor of this video. Today's sponsor is ProWorldNet.com. ProWorldNet.com is a job website specifically dedicated to licensed professions, doctors, including any type of specialty nurses, and that includes all grades of nurses. Lawyers, regardless of area of legal focus. Teachers and professors, from kindergarten through graduate school. As well as any kind of job that requires a government license or certification. And ProWorldNet.com also includes short-term gig-type jobs as well. So, be sure to check out ProWorldNet.com if you are looking for a job or an employee. Thank you for watching.